right, so for part 2 of the Saving Another Bonanza short series, I showed you guys kind of the rudder vators. We're doing a walk around. This is the 1947 Bonanza that is almost bone stock original that we are picking up in Bremerton, Washington. We are trying to get it back home to Missouri and see if she can be saved. The main concerns are just the fact that it hasn't flown since like 1983 or 86 or something like that, and the fact that there is a lot of surface corrosion that it does not want to zoom in on. But luckily, it all appears to be pretty light. If you look at part 1, you'll see I show inside behind the rear firewall, and you'll see that it's actually pretty clean inside the airplane. So we're hoping when we pop off inspection panels that on the internals there won't be corrosion. Surface corrosion, because this was a polished airplane, I think most of that can be cleaned up. The flaps I showed in part 1, they are just awful. If you've never seen how filiform corrosion can occur on an airplane, this is about as good an example as you can get. I wish this would zoom in better. There we go. I mean, it just turns into this powdery mess. But I think when we strip the paint, it still has some nice bounciness to it. It doesn't have a crunch, so we're gonna strip it all down, sand it, and see what part of it is savable. The rest of the wing, I mean, it all looks pretty much the same. Walking over here, we've got the E185-8, 205 horsepower. Of course, they even decided to polish this 88-inch Beech electric prop, which this is the good propeller we want. It has a lot of surface corrosion, but should clean up fairly nicely, I hope. Let's see, not much else to show. It does still have compression, which is incredible after all these years. I mean, this thing, in all likelihood, hasn't started in close to 40 years. Engine, I think, has about, if I remember correctly, it has around 800 hours on it. So if it's not all corroded as all get out, we should be able to just run it. Should have had this opened up already. Engine-wise, got the E80 starter, the large oil tank, which is annoying. It's got the battery up front. I mean, so this is essentially how it came off the factory line. Baffling is old and junk. I'm positive this battery is no good anymore. There's the data plate. -8, 185 to 2300 RPM for cruise, 80 octane fuel, 2600 max RPM for 205 horsepower for 1 minute. Old spark plugs, but there's corrosion on the internal part. I mean, it's just everywhere you look, you've got surface corrosion. But as long as that is not on the